In this video, I want to explain what is being discussed, why some of these ideas are presented as fairness or modernization, and why the actual effect may feel like a hidden tax increase for many households. And before anyone gets angry in the comments, this is not about party politics, it's about your money. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Ahsan, and on this channel, we discuss how to build wealth in Germany. Nobody moves to Germany thinking, I cannot wait to understand the tax treatment of married couples. But if you live here, you need to understand this system, because the tax system in Germany does not only decide how much the German government takes from your income, it also shapes your life's decisions. That is why these policy debates matter. They may sound abstract, but they can change your monthly budget. So let's go through some of the main ideas. Germany used to have a strong reputation for fiscal discipline. Compared to many countries, Germany was seen as careful with debt, and depending on who you ask, maybe even too careful. But the spending pressure has changed. The energy transition, defense, pensions, healthcare, infrastructure, and integration, they all cost money. With that, you end up with a very simple question: who pays? The honest answer is us, the taxpayers. But this is not a popular sentence. No politician wants to stand up in front of voters and say, we spend too much, so now you pay more. So the language becomes softer. Fairness, modernization, reform. Some reforms are really fair. Some loopholes really should be closed, and I'm not saying every change is bad just because the government uses nicer words. But as a taxpayer, you cannot stop at the label. You have to ask, after this reform, how much money is left in my account? That is the number that affects your life. One of the biggest topics being debated is Ehegattensplitting, Germany's splitting system for married couples. In Germany, married couples can file taxes together. The tax office takes the combined income of both spouses, divides it by 2, calculates the tax on that half, and then doubles it. This helps couples where one partner earns much more than the other. Imagine one partner earns 80,000 euros per year. The other earns 10,000 euros or maybe nothing for a while. Under the splitting system, the household is treated more like one financial unit. And for many families, that is exactly how life works. One person works full-time, the other works part-time. One parent stays at home for a few years, one person earns the income, while the other does unpaid care work is still work. It just does not come with a payslip. Critics say Ehegattensplitting discourages the second earner, often the woman, from working more. That argument is not crazy. If the second income feels heavily taxed, some families will consider the extra work as not being worth it, especially after childcare costs. Supporters say that the system protects family choice. They argue that the state should not punish families just because one parent stays at home or one partner earns less. This is where the debate gets emotional, because it's not only about tax rates, it's about the kind of family model the government wants to encourage. Should both parents be pushed into work? Should unpaid care work be recognized? Should one income family be treated as a valid choice? You can argue this from many angles, but for your personal finances, the key point is very simple. If the Ehegattensplitting is removed or reduced, many married couples with unequal incomes could pay more tax. And no, this is not only about millionaires. It can affect a normal family where one person has a decent salary and the other works less because of children, language barrier, health, qualification, or lack of childcare. For expats, this is a big deal. A lot of families do not arrive in Germany perfectly settled on day one. Usually, one person gets the job first. The partner arrives a little bit later. Then come the German lessons, paperwork, childcare, job searching, qualification, maybe loneliness, maybe even culture shock. It can take time before the second partner earns properly. If marriage taxation becomes less favorable for these families, the result could be less net income, more pressure on both partners to work, less flexibility with children, and a much harder time living on one salary. So when you hear reforming marriage taxation, do not switch off. off. For some households, that phrase means hundreds of euros. Please hit the like button if you're getting value from this video, hit the hype button if you see it, and consider subscribing. A lot of people hear tax increase and think, fine, tax the rich. But in Germany, the word rich can be misleading. The higher tax rates do not only affect people with private jets and villas. They can affect normal professionals, engineers, IT workers, doctors, researchers, self-employed people, and skilled employees. This is where you need to understand the difference between your average tax rate and your marginal tax rate. Your average tax rate is the total tax you pay compared with your total income. Your marginal tax rate is what you pay on the next euro you earn. And the next euro is the painful one. It's your bonus, your overtime, your raise, your side income, your promotion. You may look at your salary slip and think, okay, my total tax rate is not 45%, so it's not that bad. But then you earn an extra 1000 euros gross and see how little arrives net. Add social contributions, solidarity surcharge in some cases, and the extra effort feels much less rewarding. That is where people start making different decisions. They reject promotions, work fewer hours, and stop doing side projects. They delay starting a business and choose free time instead of taxable income. And honestly, this is not laziness, that's just math. If someone works more, takes more stress, accepts more responsibility, and the net difference is tiny, it is completely rational to ask whether it is worth it. Honestly speaking, my latest tax bill even made me rethink this YouTube channel. Because governments sometimes talk as if people will behave exactly the same no matter how much the system takes. They will not. People respond to incentives. Taxpayers will get relief. Okay, compared to what? With last year? With doing nothing? With inflation? With wage growth? What is it? Because inflation changes everything. Imagine your salary goes from 60,000 euros to 70,000 euros over several years. On paper, you earn more, but your rent is higher. Groceries, energy, insurance, everything is higher. So maybe you are not rich, maybe you are just earning a bigger number in a more expensive world. But the tax system still sees the bigger number. And if the brackets do not move enough, you get pushed into higher tax zones even though your real living standard has barely improved. This is bracket creep or fiscal drag. It is one of the quietest ways for the state to collect more money. No big tax increase or dramatic announcement needed. Your salary raises because prices rose and the tax office takes a larger share. That's why it's always suspicious when reforms are presented with short-term relief numbers. Maybe you save a bit this year. Great. But what happens over the next 5 to 10 years? What happens when wages rise because of inflation? A reform can look friendly today and still become expensive later on. Public health insurance is another area where small wording can hide a big financial impact. Right now in Germany, if you are in statutory health insurance, a non-working spouse and children can often be covered without separate contributions, as long as the conditions are met. This is a huge benefit, especially for families with one main income, for families with children, and families where one spouse is temporarily not working. People do not always notice the value of this benefit because they do not receive it as money. It's not like the government transfers 400 euros to your account and says, here is your family coverage benefit. It's always invisible. But if it disappears, you will notice it immediately. If non-working spouses suddenly had to pay separate contributions, many households could face a new monthly cost. For some families, that could mean hundreds of euros per month. Over a year, that can feel like almost losing a full monthly salary. And again, this is not only about rich families. It can hit normal families where one person works and the other cares for children, studies German, searches for work, or cannot work yet. Some people say separate contributions would encourage more people to work, maybe in some cases. But we need to be careful with this kind of logic. There is a difference between creating opportunity and simply making family life more expensive. If the one-income family model becomes much harder, some people will not suddenly become more productive. They may just become more stressed. Some may decide not to have children at all. And Germany already has a demographic problem. So if a policy makes family formation more expensive, we should look at it very carefully. Now we need to talk about VAT or Mehrwertsteuer. VAT is one of the easiest taxes to underestimate because it is hidden inside prices. This VAT payment is not cut from your salary by your employer. You pay it every time you buy something. If VAT rises from 19% to 22%, many people hear and think, okay, 3% more. But it is not really 3% more. It is 3 percentage points more. Relative to the old 19% rate, the VAT rate itself rises by about 15.8%. Now, I want to be clear, this does not mean your entire shopping bill automatically rises by 15.8%. It's not how VAT works, but the tax part becomes much larger. And VAT is painful because almost everyone pays it. Employees, students, self-employed, anyone who consumes pays it. The other problem is that VAT is not based on income. A low earner and a higher earner pay the same VAT on the same product. So as a share of income, VAT usually hurts lower and middle income households more. That is why only 3 percentage points can be a very dangerous phase. It sounds small, but it will not feel small at the checkout. When politicians talk about tax increases as if the calculation is simple, raise the tax, collect more money. In the short term, maybe, but over time, people will react. Entrepreneurs may invest somewhere else. Self-employed people may reduce taxable activity. Employees may reject promotions. Families may reduce working hours. Skilled workers may choose another country. Some people may leave Germany. Some people may never come in the first place. And for Germany, that is dangerous because Germany needs skilled workers badly. People who want to work, invest, take risks, and take responsibility. But if the reward for extra effort keeps shrinking, fewer people will make that effort. You can already hear this in normal conversations. Should I take the promotion if the net difference is tiny? Why should I start a business if the bureaucracy is already painful? Why should I stay in Germany if another country lets me keep more of what I earn? This mindset matters. When enough people start thinking like that, the country becomes less dynamic. People do the minimum, avoid risk, and protect their energy. They stop believing that extra effort will be rewarded. That is not good for an economy that already has slow growth, an aging population, and a shortage of skilled workers. Now, what should you actually do with all of this? Because my goal is not to make you angry. The goal is to make you harder to surprise. First, understand the real tax situation. Do not only look at the gross salary is nice for LinkedIn. Net income pays your bills. Look at the marginal tax rate. Check what happens if your salary increases, if your spouse works more or less, if you have children, if you become self-employed. Second, run scenarios before making big decisions. Use calculators. Compare public and private insurance. Compare employment and self-employment. Compare a mini job, a side business, and salary increase. The more you understand the system, the less shocked you will be later. Third, build flexibility. If taxes and contributions rise, your savings rate may come under pressure. That makes your emergency fund more important. Your investment plan becomes more important. Your spending discipline and your ability to increase income becomes even more important. Fourth, do not build your entire life around one tax advantage. Rules, tax classes, allowances, subsidies, health insurance, pension rules, everything can change. A financial plan that only works because one rule stays the same forever is fragile. So build a plan that can survive change. If you are interested in making a financial plan yourself, you can watch this video. And in this video, I share what I do with the money I earn as an employee in Germany.